If you've made it to this video, then you are probably interested in figuring out how to make this hover animation in Figma. Well, we do it using prototypes, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it in the next 5 minutes or however long it takes. Some backstory. I posted this really short clip on Reddit a few weeks ago, and it seems people cared more about the hover animation than the actual speedometer, which I was trying to show off. And well, now we're doing a tutorial on how to create that hover effect. And if you want to follow along, the link to the tutorial file is in the description. Just go down and I guess access it, and then yeah, just have it side by side and I'll teach you how to do this. So first step, we start by creating the component. So how this works is we're gonna create a prototype. That prototype is gonna be made up of components, and I will show you how to make that. So we start off with a true and a false variant. So let me explain how this works. Well, you know when your mouse hovers over something, that is essentially a hover effect. And for this glow animation to work, well, the first state is gonna be a hover where there's nothing there. So as you can see, it's completely blank. And then when you see the glowing effect, it's actually this circle that's appearing. And so we have a version where the circle is hidden. As you can see, it's not there. And then we have a version where the circle is visible and it is there. So let's start by creating those two different states. So the first state, which is false, there's nothing there, but we're gonna start by creating a circle inside our frame. And then we're gonna hide that circle by removing the fill. And then we're gonna do the same thing for the true. So we'll put a circle in there as well. But this time we're gonna change the color, and I feel like using a blue color, so we'll use blue here. Now, as you can see, you just see squares. That's because of the settings that I put to clip content. If we remove that, then you can see the full circle. It's important that the circle is bigger than the actual frame. The reason being because we want that glow to really glow. Before we move on to the next step, just make sure that these two shapes have the same name. So if you see they are different, so this one's 23 and this one's 22, well, we can just change it to glow and change this one to glow as well. And we change both names to glow, and then it'll work. Okay, and then the next step is we need to add a layer blur to these shapes, so let's do that. I'm gonna set the layer blur to 150, just so that it has that nice blur effect. Okay, so we have that, and then the next step is to turn these into components. And how you do that is you drag across both of these, and then over here, where there's the 4 diamonds, we're gonna choose create component set. So the third option. And this will create our components. We can remove this clip again so that we can see everything. Now, part 2 is we have to add interactions to it. So as you can see here, when we go, we're gonna go up to the right where it says prototype. And as you can see, down here, the example that I have already, the prototypes are set, and you can see there's these 2 strings, but on the new one that we just made, there's nothing there. So we're going to add in those prototype links. So oops. Okay, so when you hover over the component, you're gonna see a little circle show up. Just click on that and drag it across to the components. We're gonna go from false to true, and we're gonna change the interaction method from on click to mouse enter. So when the mouse enters this hover state, it's gonna transform into this blue state. And right now it has an ease in. I think we're just gonna leave it as that. Now, the fun part is going back, and we want it to react every time you leave the shape. So we're gonna change the interaction type to mouse leave, and we're going to change this to linear just to make things easier for ourselves. Now, when the mouse leaves, it's going to go back to nothing, and when the mouse enters, it's going to go turn into this blue thing. And we can test that by creating a shape. So I pressed A to create a frame, and then I'm going to copy this component into this frame. So I'm just pressing copy and paste, and then when we test that out, let's see, what does it look like? Okay, so when we hover over it, you see the blue thing shows up. Okay, so this is just part one. We are going to, we can confirm that it works, and we're gonna go into part two. So I'm just gonna remove this. Okay, so what is part two? Well, we want to make the hover movement, and that's actually the result of creating a bunch of these little squares. Yeah, it's just a grid repeated, it's just the component repeated multiple times, and that's what creates this hover effect. So as you can see, this is, I've outlined every single component, but we're gonna recreate that. So let's go up here. Let's grab our empty component and paste it here. And then we're gonna just make a copy of that. And we're gonna make more copies of that. And I'm gonna put this into an auto layout container by hitting Shift A. That just makes it easier to copy things. And then I'm going to copy this and make a column of these rows. So we have our square here. I'm gonna put this into a frame like earlier. Now we're gonna test this out. I'm just gonna add a black fill to it so that it doesn't mess things up. Oh, and one thing I almost forgot. I like to set this to plus slider. Okay, so as you can see, it follows our cursor. I'm going to make it a bit bigger so it's easier to see. There we go. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. We've made our grid of components, and now the hover effect works. And you can do a whole bunch of different things with it. You can try different colors. So in this example, I have used a green glow and a red glow. And for the red glow, I actually started with the enter state, but by doing this, you can slowly remove the red by hovering over it, which is pretty fun to do. And we're just removing all this red. And we have entered the glow effect. And you can do some fun things. So if you're using plus slider, as you can see here, it affects the color if you try to use a colored background or a gradient background. And again, it's starting with the red, but when you hover over everything, you can see the effect working, which is really cool. So you see how it interacts with the color? Damn, that's nice. Okay, and okay, realistically, what would you use it for? Well, if you have a website and you want to show off some, highlight something or like make something stand out and glow, well, here's an example of it glowing behind this phone mock-up, or you can use it to glow on a button. But yeah, possibilities are endless. It's just a little fun prototyping trick. So I want to see you guys try it out. Let me know how it goes for you. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments. Okay, so that's the video. Hopefully you learned something interesting. If you did, subscribe, leave a like. Let me know in the comments if you want me to try something else. Otherwise, I guess I will see you in a few days. I'm gonna commit to posting videos, so you'll see me soon. Okay, bye. And if you're wondering whatever happened to those kittens, well, they got really big, and now they're just running around in the background. And this is Bluey. Okay, I can go now.